Module 12. Who should create a school's vision? Section 1. Summarize the case, establish the facts. Susan Potter is the new principal at a rural school in the Lightville Community School District. The population of the school district has been increasing so much that the elementary and secondary schools that the district has are not big enough. The district voted on building a new middle school. The new middle school was barely approved by a margin of 53% to 47%. Young families supported the building of the new middle school, but many older community members, large landowners, and farmers were against it. The new middle school is the building that Susan Potter is going to be the principal of. The new middle school will be built on the same site as the existing two schools. The new middle school will house up to 450 students. The new school will take 18 months to build. The superintendent, Mr. Joe Rawlings, recommended that the principal be employed at least 12 months prior to the new school opening. Susan Potter was chosen over 22 other applicants. Susan Potter is an experienced teacher, and before accepting her new position, was a middle school assistant principal in a suburban school district. She was apprehensive about moving to a rural community, but she liked the challenge of shaping a new middle school. Susan starts at Lightville on August 1st, 12 months before the new middle school will open. In the 12 months before the school will open, Susan has 3 objectives to complete. Number 1, make staffing decisions, such as the size of the staff recruitment, and staff selection. 2, organize the school's programs, such as the scope of the curriculum, extracurricular programs, and instructional approaches. Number 3, collaborate with architects and construction managers. Many of the staff Susan hired were hired from within the district. Staffing was pretty easy. The advisory committee. The principal appointed 4 teachers and 4 parents to serve on the visioning and planning committee. At the first meeting, Susan said she would prefer not to be the chair. She also presented the following guidelines. The committee would operate democratically. Consensus should be the preferred method for making decisions. The first task would be to develop a vision statement. The vision statement would reflect values and beliefs of the committee members and hopefully the community at large. All stakeholders would be given an opportunity to suggest and react to elements of the vision. The committee members agreed, but they wanted her to chair the committee because they felt she was the most qualified. Susan insisted, and they selected another member to be chair. Helen, a teacher and member of an influential family, was chosen. Conflicts. Helen only agreed to the role if Susan agreed to help her. The first task was to make a vision statement. Susan explained a vision statement to the members. Since the school was new, they had to develop mission and philosophy statements. Helen expresses that her brother, a school board member, says Susan is a visionary leader and that she should develop the philosophy, vision, and mission statements. She also says everyone thinks that Susan should do this, and they will help get it approved. This leads to conflict because Susan disagrees. Helen disagrees back and tells her she is the expert. Susan says she just doesn't want to be an autocrat. Helen assures her they won't be mindless robots. At the next meeting, Helen talked about the disagreement, then Susan spoke. Susan says that community values and beliefs influence a vision, and that is why she doesn't want to write the statements alone and have them rubber stamped by the committee. Dan Kelby is a PE teacher. He suggested that Susan should give a vision statement and they would decide if they agree with it. 2 other members agreed. Susan still wouldn't give in. Helen then asked how she suggests they should move forward. Helen said they should create a philosophy statement. Members would share their values and beliefs, then they would arrive at a consensus. Once approved, the philosophy statement would serve as a guide for creating the vision statement. Then each member would state their mental image of the school in 5 to 10 years. The images would be debated, and then they hopefully would arrive at a consensus. Helen asked the members if they were comfortable with what Susan proposed. Only one member was comfortable with it. The others were silent. Helen once again stated her preference. They voted on it, and Susan lost. Helen then told Susan that she hopes she isn't discouraged, that the community expects her to lead. After Helen left, Susan sat in the room alone and thought about next week's meeting. Section 2, legal or ethical issues. I cannot think of any laws that were broken in this case study, but I do see some ethical issues. The members of the committee want Susan to create the philosophy, vision, and mission statements. To me, the other members of the committee don't seem to want to do much work. They want Susan to do everything. Calling her an expert and expecting her to do everything does not promote the future success and well-being of each student and adult, because the statements will not be developed collaboratively and will not reflect a core set of values of the people in the community. Doing it the way the committee members want to do it does not seem to contravene any law that I am aware of, but the decision to have one person write the philosophy, mission, and vision statements is a decision that can harm the members of the community. The people of the community deserve a collaborative effort. I don't see a breach of contract, but Susan stated multiple times that she wanted to work as a team to design the statements. When the expert has to repeat this multiple times and it falls on deaf ears, it does seem like a little bit of harassment, especially after they voted to make Susan do all of the work. It doesn't seem fair to Susan or the stakeholders in the Lightville Community School District. Section 3, synthesize exactly what happened in a single sentence. A new school principal is tasked to collaboratively develop and design philosophy, mission, and vision statements for a new school, but the committee members would prefer she design and develop them instead. Section 4, synthesize the facts. People and known. Known facts about the people in this case. Susan is an experienced teacher and school principal before starting her new position. Mr. Rawlings is the superintendent. The committee members include 4 teachers and 4 parents, plus Susan. Helen Burke is a teacher, committee member, and comes from an influential family, including a brother on the school board. Helen has a lot of political power along with her family. The people in the community feel very comfortable going along with almost anything that Susan wants to do, except working collaboratively. There are both men and women on the committee. The people, the unknowns of the people. We don't know a lot about most committee members. We know men and women are on the committee, but don't exactly know how many men and how many women. We don't know many of their names or any of their races. We maybe could assume that most are white, but I will not assume that. We don't know the jobs of the parents on the committee. We don't know the political power of every member on the committee. Students are not mentioned much, so we don't know much about them either. The place and the known. We know it is a rural school district. We know 60% of the students live on farms. Before the new middle school, there are 2 schools, a K through 6 elementary school and a 7 through 12 junior-senior high. All schools are located on a 65-acre site 2 miles from the town of Lightville. The district's population is increasing at about 2% per year. 25 years ago, enrollment was 758. Now it is just over 1,200. Low land costs and relatively new schools have attracted new residents. We know it is a public school. The schools are 22 years old and 11 years old. The school is 10 miles from a major city. The unknown about the place. We don't know about the races that make up the community or if any languages other than English are spoken by the people in the community. We were told the schools are relatively new, but we don't know exactly what that means as far as the condition of the buildings. We can assume they are pretty nice and new, but we can only assume that. Program the known. We know that the elementary school serves students K through 12, and the junior senior high serves 7 through 12 students. We know that these are both public schools. The middle school will also be public. And the unknowns. We do not know anything about the curriculum at the schools. There was no mention of special education, bilingual education, or English language learners programs. There was no mention of diversity at all. Section 5, review and prioritize information. The conflict, situation, and decision in this case study can be damaging to stakeholders or the community. The reason is by having one person write philosophy, mission, and vision statements, the stakeholders are not getting a committee that will promote the current and future success and well-being of each student and adult by applying the knowledge, skills, and commitments necessary to lead, design, and implement a school mission and vision that reflects core values of the committee members and the community. If one person writes the statements, they will reflect only her values. Susan is not yet really a member of the community. Having her write them could very well be damaging to stakeholders. The individuals and groups that have an important stake in the outcome are number one, and always number one when talking about education, are the students, followed in any order by teachers, parents, and community members. In my opinion, not all relevant stakeholders have been consulted. There was not any mention of consulting the number one stakeholders, the students. It seems everyone else voiced their opinions but students. Students could make great committee members, probably would even make better committee members than some of the current ones. There is more to learn about the situation if students were involved in the statement creation process. I think I know enough about the situation to make a decision or voice an opinion to include students in the committee. Section 6, identify your options and possible consequences. First thing to consider is doing nothing, just going along with what the committee members want. I could write the philosophy, mission, and vision statements, and the committee could rubber stamp them. The school would get statements that were made by one person that originally, even a couple months ago, was not a member or stakeholder in the community. The school would not get a collaborative effort. The second thing to consider is the most liberal action I could take in this situation. I think the most liberal action I could take would be having students take part in the committee. The students are the most important stakeholders. It makes sense for them to be a part of it. Another strategy would be to appoint more members to the committee, but let them know in advance the process will be collaborative and reflect a core set of values of the people in the community. Replacing the committee members with new people that want to work as a team would be an option, but doing this could get very messy politically, especially for a new principal. Another option could be to take the existing philosophy, mission, and vision statements from either the elementary or junior senior high school and use those statements for the new middle school.